I'm Sharon Lynch. I'm a realtor in town. I've been a realtor for the past 20 years. And one of the reasons that I'm here today is because one of my clients actually referred Jeff to me to ask me to come and speak to you. And it's rare that I get up and publicly speak about myself because I believe that God has chosen me to do His work and to serve His people. And sometimes that's hard to say in front of people who are not of faith. And it's also hard to say sometimes because it sounds like you're bragging. And so I feel that God's given me a lot of gifts and a lot of abilities and a lot of life experiences to bring me to the place that I am today. So one of the things that Jeff asked me to speak about was actually my client that referred me to him, and that is, life is all about choices, and when we make choices, we have free will. And if we really believe that, then we want to do what's right, not just for ourselves, but for the people that we impact. And so this particular client was in a situation where I was selling the home. She was a tenant. She lived on the second floor. And I didn't really know her, and she wasn't really the person that I was having the relationship with. But I approached her and I said, what are your plans and where do you think you're going? And she said, well, I think I want to go and rent. And I said, well, let's take a look and see what your opportunities are and whether or not maybe renting isn't the best option for you right now. Maybe a purchase is. And so 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago when this happened, as you know, the market has been a little bit down, so housing was down. And so we looked at her resources and we looked at what it was going to cost her to rent something, because rents are very high and they have been for a number of years now. And we decided that it would be better for her to be able to buy something. And so we were able to find her a very nice condo, which met all the amenities that she needed. It wasn't expensive, it was in a good location. And then as it turned out, she lost her job and also had some health issues. And so because we didn't leverage her into something that was beyond her means, she was able to stay in the condo even though she lost her job and she was having these health challenges. So one of the things that I try to do with my clients is to think about what it is that they're really experiencing. Money is a great equalizer. And some people have a solid history with money, and other people have challenges with money. And so when I'm working with a buyer, I say to them, look, all I need to know is what you're qualified for. I don't need to know what your history is and how you've come to where you are today. Let's just talk about where we can go for the future. And so I try to show compassion to those individuals and to encourage them to look forward to the opportunity that's ahead and to build them up and get them on the right track. When I'm working with sellers, I like to think that I have the gift of saying difficult things at appropriate times or when they need to be said. And that goes not only when I'm working with clients, but for the various organizations that I'm involved with. And I like to think that either the Holy Spirit or my guardian angel, as Dave was saying, has an influence on that, and that I can be compassionate about it when I say it. And so when I come into someone's home, there's a lot of things that I can tell just by walking through the home, and things that I see that maybe other people who know you as a person may not know that about you. And so it might be a health issue, it might be a relationship issue. There's a lot of things. And so I feel that my job when I come to you, because you're making a choice to move on through life, or maybe you're forced to move on through life, again, is to be compassionate and to do what's best for you and best for your family. Recently, last week, I was out interviewing for a position, and the woman was telling me that they've already purchased their home in Lincolnshire, and they want to put their home on in Des Plaines. And she said, well, we're carrying 2 mortgages. I said, well, are you in a position where possibly you could rent your home? Because there's very few opportunities in life where you have the opportunity to build your real estate base. And real wealth in this country is predicated around real estate. The stock market's great, but your real estate's physically not going anywhere. So even if your house burns down, you've got insurance, and so the land still has value. So I said to her, look, you know what, maybe we want to explore this. And quite frankly, I'm going to make a lot more money on the sale than I am on the rental of her property. But that's not what's right. My job is to give both the options and to give them the opportunity to make choices themselves. And at the end of the day, I want to be able to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I did the right thing for my clients, and I've done the best job that I can. And sometimes, as I said, that's not always easy because we have to say things that are difficult and maybe people don't want to hear, but you have to be compassionate about it. I'm very active, and one of the things that I want to bring forward in this is that when I talk about how I feel that God has called me to serve, is that I'm very active in my community. I actually live in Des Plaines, and I've worked in the Park Ridge office for 20 years. That's been my only real estate career with Central 21 And when I was a younger person, I was very active in junior high and in high school. And I took a hiatus and came to the Midwest. I grew up in Connecticut. And I decided that I really wanted to figure out who I was for myself, not based on the history that I had, how people knew me, how involved I was, how involved my family was, everything else. So I came to the Midwest. I went to school at Marquette, another faith-based organization, really enjoyed it. Would recommend it highly to any of you that have children or grandchildren, neighbors that are thinking about sending their kids to a Catholic university. And got involved in my career, had a few different careers, and wasn't really able to give back to the community. But I would go to church, and I would hear, we've all heard this song, we're talking about music, "Here I am, Lord, is it I, Lord? I hear you calling in the night." I know I'm being called, I know I need to do more, I know I've got gifts. So I got myself involved with our local chamber, and then I'm also in the Rosemont Chamber of Commerce. And so I started volunteering there and just listening to people and what they needed and what their skill sets were. And one of the things that I feel that I've been called to do is to help people raise money for their various organizations. I think sometimes if you can get people to embrace the organization and just understand your real mission and be compassionate and enthusiastic about it, sometimes it's hard for people to say no because they see how enthused you are and the value that you're providing to the community. So I work with the business community. I am involved with the Des Plaines Community Senior Center. I was on the team that helped to develop the Frisbee Senior Center on the corner of Mount Prospect and Northwest Highway. That was a $2.3 million purchase. We own that whole strip mall. And I actually gave back my commission on that. So I work with the senior community there. I sit on the Board of Education for District 62, which is our K through 8 schools. And it's one of our districts in Des Plaines because I've been called to serve and to meet the needs of everyone. So it's not just the seniors, it's not just the business people, it's our children. Our children are our future. I'm a Rotarian. We do work locally, nationally, internationally. So one of the reasons I've gotten myself so involved is because I feel it's important to have a pulse on what's actually going on in the community. And so when my clients come to me and they ask me questions about whether they've lost a job or they need some health issues resolved, or they've got to have a contractor, or they need an electrician or a plumber, or any of those things that go along with housing, I feel that I can, in good faith, give them names of people that are qualified to help them. And that wouldn't happen unless I was involved in the community. And so I've always felt that it's my responsibility to be involved in the community. It's my responsibility to be the voice for people who may not have a voice of their own, or don't know where to find their voice, or don't know which step to take to get that voice.
And how's the real estate market?
I want to tell you that the real estate market is rebounding and it's wonderful. When houses sell in this country, that means that the majority of people are working. So what you don't think about, but what I see, is that 26 different jobs are more impacted from every real estate transaction that goes on in this country. It's not just the plumber, the electrician, the attorney, the home inspector, the title people. It's the people that work at Lowe's. It's the people at the carpet store. It's the people at Home Depot. It's the people 5 years down the road that are doing work on your home for you. So we turned around probably in April of last year in the Midwest. I have associates in other parts of the country, and they probably turned around a little bit earlier than us. And I've got friends in California, and they've got homes selling in a day, and they've got 20 contracts on one property. It's fierce out there right now. For a lot of you, it's hard for you to believe that we could be coming into a housing shortage, but I've been talking about that with my clients for the past 2 years. And the fact of the matter is that no new housing to speak of has been built in the past 5 years. We've got a whole generation of people 18 to 30 years old that need a place to live. And we've got seniors who are in good health that are staying in their homes even longer because their homes didn't have as much value as they did in the past, and they would like to get into an assisted living situation or independent living, but they can't do it because there isn't enough resource available out of their home right now. So the good news is the market's taking a change, and we're back to about 6 months of inventory.